What's going on, Reef Builders? This is Shawn, Hale, and yes, I am bringing you my very first Reef Builders video. I am so excited to start bringing content to you from all of my travels around the country. We are here at Vibrant Corals today, so get ready because there is a ton of very cool coral here at Vibrant. You're gonna be doing the unboxing and seeing all the cool stuff that's gonna be unboxed here at Vibrant today. Let's go. We're gonna go get Caleb and we're gonna start unboxing this shipment that they're already starting to unbox. Caleb?
So we have a Caribbean shipment that just came in. It's gonna be rock flowers, invertebrates, some fish. And we do about 1 to 2 of these a month.
Okay, so in case this is your first Reef Builders video, Vibrant is a coral and livestock wholesaler here in the Dallas, Texas area. They've been doing business in this area for years. They have a very good name, very reputable company. They've been on Reef Builders before, so you may have seen Caleb doing content. They're not new to the Reef Builders platform, so for most of you, they don't need an introduction, but in case you're new to the platform, this is Vibrant Coral, this is Caleb, one of the partners in the company.
Yes, sir.
All right, Caleb, so we're getting ready to unbox this Caribbean order. How many boxes came in on this?
I think this one was 37.
37 boxes filled with coral, right?
Well, from the Dominican, it wouldn't be coral, it'd be inverts and fish. There's only certain countries that can export coral. Right. From the Caribbeans, it's only fish and inverts.
Fish and inverts. All right. What are we unboxing right now? So some rock flower nyms, I think I saw.
All right, some rock flower nyms, and then these are going to be St. Thomas mushrooms.
Okay.
And then neglectus mushrooms. So obviously, under a white light, these aren't exactly just jaw dropping, right?
Right.
But once we get them under some blue lights here in a minute with a filter, you're going to see how beautiful these are. But this is what somebody sees when they're diving underwater.
Right.
Right. When you're under the sun in the waves, like, this is what you're looking at, and you got to figure out, you know, what's rock, what's coral. It all looks brown, right? It's not an easy job just to go pluck this out of the ocean in volume.
So what? And they do that with. They actually bring underwater blue lights as well, right?
Most people do not.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Most people do not. Some people do.
All right.
You ready to work?
Let's do it.
We're gonna open some boxes.
So do you know what's in this box?
Oh yeah. So when from a regulatory perspective, every box has to have a packing list, and it has to have that packing list attached to the outside of it so that Fish and Wildlife can accurately inspect whatever they need to inspect.
Okay.
Right, so for example, I know this whole box is emerald crabs.
Oh, okay. Emerald crabs.
Mm-hmm. These are great for eating pest algae and bubble algae in your tank. And so this shipment, we brought in about 3,000 of them.
All right, so emerald crabs, popular for eradicating bubble algae in your system. Did you know that bubble algae, it's a myth that if you pop it, that it will make a dozen more. It is a unicelled algae.
There you go. I was gonna say, do you know why that is the case? But yeah, you're right. It is a unicell algae, which is crazy when you pick them up in the wild. I picked them up that big around.
Yeah.
Which to think that's just a single cell is wild.
Right. So, all right, so what are we doing here? I got to cut the bag open.
We're gonna cut the bag open.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna release the emeralds into the baskets.
Okay.
Check to make sure we don't have any stragglers inside the bag.
Okay.
Throw the bag in the trash. So what's beautiful about what we're about to do is, you know, being a wholesaler, we bring things directly in from the ocean. So that also means we bring in everything that is attached to said animals, which includes bubble algae. So sometimes we'll get a tank that starts to develop some bubble algae. So our grand plan this time was, well, that tank over there has some bubble algae issues. We'll just use that as the crab tank. So all these crabs are just going to go into one tank with all the bubble algae, and by the time we sell through them, I imagine we should be algae free in that tank.
Because of the emerald crabs. Now, is there anything else that consumes bubble algae like emerald crabs do?
I have seen, so there's no guarantee, but I have seen some large sailfin tanks absolutely decimate algae before.
But not everybody can have a sailfin.
No, not everybody can.
Pretty much everyone can have an emerald crab.
Yeah, I mean,
as long as you don't have like puffers and things like that.
So yeah, our hobby exists in the 50 to 100 gallon tank range, right?
And
so
and even more people coming in with the all-in-ones on the small tanks.
Oh yeah, that's what I have in my office actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a much more equitable option for algae removal than some of the larger options, although they do exist. So what I do is I turn it upside down and then I grab this. There's a little, you feel that in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're double bagged underneath,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
so
okay.
you grab,
And then you speed pour.
right? So you grab that and then I speed pour and that allows me to just shake.
Ah,
And then if there's one hanging on, I just flick it out. You're done.
there you go. You're learning more than you thought you were today. Here.
I would never be able to verbalize that if I was training somebody,
Yeah.
like as a
Yeah.
process, unless someone asked that question.
Yeah, it's
automatic.
A watch.
Yeah.
This is just
Reef builders, I will ask the questions that you don't think to ask, or maybe you're thinking, oh, violation, Caleb.
No.
Look at you. I've caught you. See, that's why you're going so much faster.
rescue mission.
That's the only one.
No, yeah,
That's the
yeah,
only
yeah.
one. Okay.
He hid away.
Yeah. All right.
What's your favorite cleanup crew animal?
Favorite clinic? I will show you. Because to describe it means nothing.
Hey, taking a break from work over here?
No, you stay working.
Okay.
All right, that's what you signed up for. I get these out of Western Australia.
Oh yeah, I love these guys too.
That is a very, very large trocus. I don't know if you can see my hand in the shot, but they are giant. And they actually have like a full head on them with eyes, and he'll pop his head over the rim of this tank and just stare at me while I'm at my computer.
So does he have a name since he lives in the office and?
Oh, that's Randy. Like Randy Marsh from South Park.
Oh,
Never seen one that big, have you?
I went and met Randy.
Yeah, Randy.
Randy.
Randy the snail.
Yeah, Randy.
Oh, so your favorite is the snails. That's why you've always been partial to me, Caleb.
That's what it is.
Some snails. All right, talk to me while we're bagging these about all the typical things that you would bring in from the Caribbean.
So, the Caribbean is interesting because there's different regulations in different places for what's able to be collected. But in this case, for example, this is from the Dominican Republic. So, the Dominican Republic, for example, they're not allowed to collect angelfish or tangs.
Okay.
So, we don't get any of the Caribbean angelfish out of DR.
Why are they not? Is this government policy there in the Dominican Republic?
So there's a lot of overfishing that happened in Haiti a long time ago, and the thought process is, since they share a border, is if it's more managed on the Dominican side, it'll have some beneficial qualities for the Haiti side because it's the same island, and so they put like a 4-year pause on tangs and angelfish being caught out of DR, and hoping that with larval drift, that it'll help repopulate the Haitian population.
Oh, okay. All right. Looking at my crabs, they look healthier and happier. Those look a little bit shaken up. It's about the same amount of crabs here in the end, as you can see. Let's take a look at these.
All right, let's go take a look over here.
All right, red legs.
Red leg.
Scarlets?
Yeah, but
So we got some scarlet hermits here. These are one of my favorite crabs. You can see these are more expensive than your tiny reefs, your blue legs. They're very good at eating algae. They can take down a lot of hair algae, and they last a lot longer than what I've typically seen out of tiny reefs or blue leg hermits. They're bigger. They can be a bit aggressive to the tinier crabs.
so the tinier ones, yes, we keep them separate from the dwarf blue legs, but they are very pretty, and people do like them to add a bit of pop in the tank.
When I worked at the retail shop, scarlet red legs were $3.99, and tiny reef hermits were 99 cents.
Wow.
So you had to pay 4 times as much for these big guys. So
Yep.
You did $3.99 for these?
$3.99 or buy 3 for $9.99.
Oh no, mine were just $3.50.
$3.50?
What?
About 350.
About $3.50.
About 350.
What I like about the scarlets is these are always just coated in coralline algae. Hey, Caleb, do you have a tiny reef hermit somewhere?
I do.
You can go grab me one.
Difference.
Size difference. All right. Now that
maybe
is a tiny
Evie.
reef hermit. That is a scarlet red leg, and that is why these, when I was working retail shop, were 99 cents, and these were $3.99. Obviously, more expensive too for these guys. But these work well too, right? So
They work great. They actually get into smaller areas to clean up
Yeah.
detritus. So, you know, everything has a function, right? Because you're creating an enclosed biosphere, basically. So everything's going to have a function for what it does. This is going to get into tiny little areas to clean up, and this will clean up larger areas, right? But it's never going to be able to reach what this guy is.
right. My scarlets always lasted for so long, years and years.
Yeah, they're very hardy.
Yeah.
Even like during shipping, if they come out of their shells, which you'll see some in the bags, once you pour them in here, they're just going to find the first empty shell and hop right back into it.
I feel like I got fired because I wasn't unbagging.
You did
Got
get
to-
fired. You were very slow.
You know,
You could not hack it.
is quality over quantity reef builders. So
All right, so what we're gonna do next, because they already got most of it done, is I'm gonna grab like a sampling of some
Yeah.
of the rock flowers.
yeah,
There's so much about doing this that's very relational, and it's really about people. I think what really gets lost in translation sometimes is people think, I just want something pretty for my tank. But what's cool about this hobby is it actually helps a lot of underserved people worldwide. You know, that because I've been to these places, otherwise would just be subsistence fishing for day to day, and now they have gainful employment. They're able to provide for their families in a more meaningful fashion. You know, like able to purchase things like solar, right?
Right.
And have actual heated water, stuff like that. So there's a lot of these very poor coastal communities, like that. This industry has a huge impact in helping people.
yeah. Because some of these fish that go into our trade, they are also fished for food as well, right? And
I'm going to show you here in a minute
Yeah.
something pretty wild that was a fish for food up until about April of this year. When
Really?
I went diving and I said, guys, it was in the lunch bucket because you go spearfishing for lunch, right? And I said, guys, can you also send these to me and not just eat them? They're like, oh, yeah, it's no problem. We didn't know you wanted those. I was like, yeah, I want these. They're delicious. But I'll show you here in a little bit when we go look at the fish. Yeah.
And but to your point, once it's shipped into the aquarium trade, you know, that village is getting a lot more for that fish than they would
Absolutely.
in the food market. right?
Absolutely.
And so this is bringing in a lot of needed funds for them to, you know, build their infrastructure, their community, right?
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. I mean, there's been whole hospitals, schools, and whole, yeah, like you said, infrastructure built on some of these further islands that would not have been there were it not for the marine ornamental industry, right? And the hobby helps support that. And so I just always want to remind people that are at the end of this thing enjoying these beautiful creatures is like knowing that there's a whole supply line of people working really hard to bring this to market and,
Right.
and to this hobby. And I think sometimes that gets a little lost in translation, but we at Vibrant, we always want to be an advocate for the underserved overseas and advocate for them and advocate for this industry and this hobby here,
Right.
so that we can continue to help in that way.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's our goal with Reef Builders as well. Is we're looking here to educate you. We're looking to, you know, hey, they did do some things, you know, decades ago that wasn't, you know, an overpulling of fish and things like that, and you know, cyanide collection things.
Right.
But you know, there's a lot more government involvement in these things. A lot more government involvement with fish and wildlife for things coming in. And so this is being managed now. The stories that you heard, those nightmare stories from so many years ago, you know, it would be nearly impossible for that type of thing to come into the US.
Yeah, it's by and far not the norm anymore. But that is why I travel so much, because where I get coral from, where I get fish from, where I get inverts from, 99% of the places that I do business with, I've physically been there. I've met the people. I know their families. I know their companies, and I have dove in those places and seen with my own eyes. Right. I think that's important for me, at least, to know exactly. I mean, even from like as a hobbyist standpoint, like it helped me so much to understand why certain corals were rarer, why certain corals only grow in certain areas, and then to be able to visualize that underwater, I could then better instruct the divers there. Like, here's what we want to do. Here's what we're going to search for once I physically saw it. So when I'm finding beautiful acros at 90 feet, I go, wow, you know, that's typically not what I'm seeing right in these deep, calm bays, but they turn out to be these beautiful, smooth skin acros. Well, now I know, guys, this is where we need to be collecting that. Whereas previously, it was just kind of, we'll see what comes in, you know?
Yeah.
So, right, these are the rock flowers that just came in. Were just unboxed. And this is just kind of a random sampling of some of the different types and colors. But, you know, as an anemone, they love to walk around, so we have to kind of keep them in one sequestered area. So they have their own dedicated tank, because otherwise they like to get a little frisky, maybe.
That
crawl on top
yellow
of
one
the
is
coral.
awesome because it's got the blotching.
Yes, so like that, for example, is a great example of why these are so popular, because there's so many idiosyncratic things about how they look that makes them very collectible. You know, once someone has, say, a powder brown tang in their tank, well, they have a powder brown now, because 99.9% of powder browns look the same. But these are kind of like Pokemon. You can just keep collecting them, because there's all these different ones that are, you know, different colors, different patterns.
So
Yep.
is this the regular one, and this is the shiny?
And the shiny.
No, let's talk about anemones too now. Rock flower anemones. This is not really your clownfish anemone. It's a rock flower.
No, not at all.
These are true
Sexy
small.
shrimp.
Sexy shrimp. Yep. Now, still, since we have anemones, and I'm not just going to assume that you guys know everything about anemones, you can see how they've, you know, just been putting in here. They've already attached to the base. You do, if you are handling an anemone, you want to basically just kind of work that base. You don't want to just pull it off. That does rip at its base. And so you do want to kind of slowly get it to release, because it can be damaging to the anemone just to pull it when it's attached. Especially if you're trying to move it around your tank and it's attached to rock or inside of a hole, that can hurt it severely. So this one's nice.
Anytime I've ever had a rock flower get on a rock, it's there.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fun.
especially
It's-
this is going to come
that
off. It's
is
a
where
nice
it's
smooth
living.
surface. But yeah, if you were having to move it, right, or
So there is a little tip for that. If you have a cantankerous anemone that is not moving, one of the things you can do, if you're able to, is actually remove the rock. Well, there's a couple things. You can point a power head directly at it, try to get it to move. But if you really can't get it to move, you can take the entire rock out of the water, hang it upside down, and let it get mad enough that it's hanging upside down.
Right.
And then it kind of gets more agreeable, and you can peel it off.
you know what I always did in those scenarios? I would remove the rock and I would chip out the piece that it's connected to. So I
Yeah,
just
well,
chip that out.
that's
and
what they
then
do in the
It's on a
ocean.
little small one, and then
Yeah, when they collect them, that's what they have to do sometimes, because they want to be gentle with the delicate foot on it. So sometimes they'll just chip it, and then once it's chipped, then it'll let go of the rock.
right.
Yep.
Nice. Hey, see, I already knew. So what would you feed a rock flower in?
They're largely just kind of filter feeder. Well, they eat particulates in the water, but you could feed them.
These are the St. Thomas.
These are St. Thomas mushrooms. Yeah.
All right. Now they were brown before.
They were brown before, but now look at them, right?
Yep.
Look at all the different colors on that, even the different bases on it. And, you know, in the industry, people have taken these, aquacultured them for a while, and then given them the crazy names like the flamethrower, but they all are at their base form a Rhodactis sanctitome.
Which
They're
is-
one of my favorites because they can bounce.
Well, yeah, that and like they were super common for like the early 2000s. But like you would get a bunch of them on a rock at any given time, and it was just like that was how they were. And then they started figuring out, oh, if you get really cool ones,
No.
Yeah, there's that, and then also, you know, with the stuff going on in Florida with some of the temperature stuff, really took away a lot of the American side stock. That's still very common in other areas, but as far as Florida goes, they definitely don't have as much as they used to.
All right, Reef Builders, we were here a few days ago to check in on this puffer that came in at Vibrant and just checking back with them here. And this guy is doing really great. I thought I'd bring Evie in here to take a few better shots, releasing an article on the website for you to check out and a video to accompany. Everything you need to know about this rare gem coming soon.